Welcome back to the programme. It is a stunning setback for Hong Kong's government and for China, a landslide victory for pro-democracy candidates in the territory's local elections. They now control 17 out of 18 district councils. After this, the first elections since anti-Beijing protests began 6 months ago. Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has said she will seriously reflect on the message sent by voters. These are some of the latest pictures that are coming from Hong Kong. The area around the Polytechnic University, where all of those protesters, or some of the protesters, are still barricaded inside, and some of those candidates elected in these elections making the point that they were going to go there to the university to obviously lend their weight. And there you see the authorities also ringing that university in preparation. And that's that standoff we've seen over the last week or so. Well, here in the studio with me is Kerry Allen, our China media analyst, to look back in terms of analysing what we've seen and take me through how the pro-Beijing media are reporting this, first in China and then in Hong Kong.
Well, in mainland China, I mean, we have to bear in mind that China regards Hong Kong as an area that belongs to it, and it sees this as small-time politics. So it wouldn't have been prepared to give a lot of attention to it had it gone as it did today, in favour of pro-democracy candidates. So a lot of the opinion that's coming out in papers like Global Times, official newspapers and state newspapers are suggesting that there was Western interference involved in the election. So that's been the headline in a lot of these newspapers today. And also suggestions from the official People's Daily that more work needs to be done as a result of this turnout. But no acknowledgement whatsoever of what actually happened, no praise. The government didn't expect this.
And one of the papers in Hong Kong described it, they went so far as to calling it a scam, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. So big papers like Wen Weipo and Ta Kung Pao, I mean, these are long-standing papers with a pro-Beijing relationship. They've been saying that this wasn't fair. Yeah, they've been calling it a scam, and they've been suggesting that protesters on the ground were interfering with the election. Particularly old people, for example, they were saying that demonstrators were going up to them and trying to convince them to, or basically bully them into voting the other way.
So that is the newspapers, and there we see some of the things on the screen, but social media as well, and that's what we're seeing there just brought up. Take us through that, because we know about the difficulties in terms of how much is reported, but what is appearing on social media?
Well, papers like China Daily, an official Chinese newspaper, they're putting out a lot of stuff on Twitter and Facebook saying that this election wasn't fair, that there was a lot of influence both from Westerners, Western governments, but also from protesters on the ground. But within mainland China, platforms like Sina Weibo that are Chinese are heavily censored and controlled. So a lot of the comments that are seen are very much in line with Beijing's message. It's possible that people were saying that this was a fair result, but their messages would have been censored. They wouldn't have been available to view.
Kerry, thanks for taking me through all of that. We'll continue to analyse in more detail in a moment or two.